The Walt Disney Company is in a strange place today, one that they do not frequently enjoy staying in for any length of time, nor should any other company. And that is that major financial analysts are now declaring, avoid Disney, do not buy the dip in their stock value. And yes, the stock has not recovered ever since it dove on last week's earnings report. Today, folks, while we give you no financial advice, we'll show you the war between the analysts as some attempt to defend the Magic Kingdom, and others say the magic is surely gone. Hello, folks. Welcome back to the place where we explain entertainment, keep you ahead of the culture curve. It is a joy every time we get to do it. We do it because we believe that telling you what's going on in entertainment and entertainment companies tells us a lot about where culture secretly is. If you like content like this, consider clicking the like button and let's get straight into the news. This from a place you're very familiar with, I hope, and bookmark to the website, thatparkplace.com, and the article is by Pam Fitzgerald. We'll get to the analysts in just maybe a moment even, folks. We just need to stop here very briefly. So humor me for a moment as we talk about something that I think weighs upon the stock in a way that perhaps the analysts are not paying any attention to, but you will know about it because you were here. Tiana's Bayou Adventure opening date announced by Disney Parks during American Idol. What in the world does that have to do with the stock? Let me show you. And this is why we love that Park Place. Here's what it says. During American Idol on May 12th, the Walt Disney Company made the announcement of when Tiana's Bayou Adventure would be opening to the general public for guests to ride the attraction. This is a very peculiar announcement because the Disney's earnings call took place last week and there was no mention of this seemingly major addition to Disney parks. Some have speculated the reason Disney decided not to make the announcement during that time was because the earnings report also included information that Disney World attendance and revenues, where Tiana's Bayou Adventure will be opening, are expected to be soft. During the quarter, the ride is added to the park's portfolio. By announcing it instead during a television show, the company may have attempted to distance the attraction from the criticism that it will not impact attendance in a positive fashion. Let me explain this to you briefly. What's going on here is that usually at these Disney earnings reports, they talk about the big stuff coming out because they want to jazz up the investors. But they didn't talk at all about Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Never mentioned it. It's their E-attraction replacing Splash Mountain, debuting this coming month in June. Where was it? Where is it? Why did they not say anything about it in the earnings report? Well, it's because in the earnings report, they guided investors, and this is partly what crashed the stock. They guided investors that park attendance wasn't going to be necessarily good, that revenues might not be good for Walt Disney World this summer. Well, that's a heck of a thing to say. If your big attraction that you have used for the past year or so to market, everybody should go to Disney World, if it's opening and nobody's coming to see it, that's a real problem. So that is how we get to a situation such as today. Now, folks, you know something that almost none of the investors out there, those who don't watch this channel, know. You know that there's an attraction that's supposed to drive folks to the parks, get them to the turnstiles, and it's having the opposite effect. At best, it has no impact. At worst, it's driving people away. And look, here's someone saying that they're staying away from Disney stock even after selling off. This is by Daniel Sparks, and it's on the Motley Fool. And we're going, in all fairness, to give you the opposing view when it comes to Disney stock, and we are not here to give you any financial advice here on this channel. None whatsoever. Do not take any financial advice from us. What I am trying to do, folks, is to show you the PR nightmare that Disney has when they have people in places of prestige saying, don't buy the stock, stay away from it, the magic is gone. Let's take a look now at what we have here by Daniel Sparks. We'll get the key points as we read it. Shares are down more than 10% over the last 30 days. Correct. Shares of Disney have fallen more than 10% over the last month, but investors should think twice before they buy the dip. Recent results simply aren't encouraging enough to justify the stock's current valuation. Furthermore, the company's streaming transformation in its content business has yet to prove itself. Sure. Management recently reinitiated a dividend, reflecting its confidence in a strategic restructuring and a reinvigorated focus on growth. But investors shouldn't automatically assume that management's confidence is a buy signal. Buying the entertainment stock at its current valuation may simply require too much speculation. Now, today, folks, you can see it's up 31 cents. Hoorah, huzzah for Disney. 31 cents is not anything to get too excited about, I would say, after they wiped out billions and billions and billions of dollars of their total company value in that last earnings call. Here are the reasons that are given by this person as to why, this financial analyst as to why they believe you should not buy the dip. The first major problem at Disney is its anemic top-line growth. Total revenue in its most recent quarter rose just 1% year over year. Now, folks, ponder this. What's the inflation rate? Okay, I want to explain why the analysts now are turning against Bob Iger. And quickly, by the way, just think how recently it was that Nelson Peltz was storming the gates, and then there was celebration and fireworks behind the castle that Peltz has been defeated and the board would remain fully staffed by Igerites. Take a look at that, though. 1% year over year improvement in total revenue. What's the inflation rate? The inflation rate is far greater than 1%, that's for sure. And if the inflation rate is far greater than 1%, that means that Disney is actually receding in total transactory power. You see what I'm saying? It means that less people are engaging in commerce with Disney. Otherwise, it would at least keep up with inflation. 1% is less than inflation. Therefore, Disney isn't keeping up with the consumer interactions of the past. Weighing heavily on its revenue performance was a 5% decline in entertainment revenue. The segment's 13% year-over-year growth in direct-to-consumer revenue wasn't enough to offset an 8% decline in linear networks revenue. That's called cannibalization. And a 40% drop in content sales, licensing, and other entertainment revenue. Folks, what have we been telling you about Hasbro? What have we been telling you about Disney's licensing partners and the suffering that they're going through as their franchises die on the vine? A 40% drop in sales, licensing, and other entertainment revenue? Good Lord! Sports revenue, which includes the company's lucrative ESPN operation, rose just 2% during the quarter. Again, not keeping up with inflation. Not. But a 40% drop in content sales, that is staggering. The experiences segment, which includes sales from its domestic and international parks and its consumer products, rose 10%. Key to this growth, however, was the temporary boon of the continued rebound of global travel as the COVID pandemic fades further into the rearview mirror. Let me translate that for you. The investors are not fooled that the Chinese parks were able to open and that now they can generate some degree of revenue from them. The investors are not fooled that people are finally returning to cruise lines, that they have the confidence to get back on a ship filled with tons of other people all crowded in a sea of claustrophobia. Pun intended. The investors are not fooled that this was not perhaps a win for Disney, but just rather general market influences. And when Disney guides that, hey, we're not going to succeed next quarter, that freaks out the investors. The hope Disney investors are likely clinging to is the company's direct-to-consumer business. And my, oh my, if that's what they're clinging to, boy, do they have some problems ahead. I've got a digital bridge to sell to them. Disney has finally shown that this subsegment, which has seen double-digit year-over-year growth revenue, can contribute to profitability. Direct-to-consumer, which includes revenue from streaming services like Disney Plus, Hotstar, and Hulu, swung up profitability in fiscal Q2, and its operating income was $47 million, up from a loss of $587 million in the year-ago quarter. Unfortunately, Disney says they can't do that again next quarter. And that's because, and we're not going to go into it this video because we've done it before and it takes a long time, a confluence of several different factors came together to make this possible. Hollywood strike, yes. Not the inability to purchase items from Disney, from within Disney for this quarter in a special situation, yes. We're not going there. We can't go there today. It says, while it's great to see improvement, it should be noted that this translates to an operating profit margin of less than 1%. Disney may need significantly more scale for this segment's operating margin to eventually rival the operating margin for its linear network, which falls between 25 and 35% in most quarters. 1% for streaming versus 25 to 35% for linear. This is why the analysts are not happy. This is why the investors are not happy. But folks, I'm here to tell you that in any given topic, with any subject you can come up with, anything under the sun, you will find those who agree and you will find those who disagree. You give me a subject to talk about, and I can find someone who will take an opposing view, no matter what it is. I want to show you what the opposite side right now is when it comes to the support for Disney. To do that, I'm going to go to an article from the same source, Motley Fool. We're staying with Motley Fool because I want to stay as consistent as I possibly can, as unbiased as I possibly can be for you today as we continue to watch the Disney stock stay down around the $105 mark. Again, no financial advice here, but simply saying it has not rebounded from that loss. Will it go down even further? We don't know, but it hasn't come back up yet again, and that's despite whatever the market is doing. Here's the article. This by Rick Muñoz. It's not the first time we've read stuff from this author. It says 3 reasons Disney stock can stay hot this summer. Now, folks, I'm not going to go greatly in depth into this because I need to show you something else. I'm not trying to skirt around it. I'm not trying to avoid it. If you want to go read it, please do so. The link is in the video description down below. This came out this morning. I will hit the highlights, okay? So the key points here: Disney shares hit a 3-month low after a disappointing financial report last week, but it's still beating the market in 2024. Point number 2 made by this author: the debut of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes over the weekend gives Disney its first theatrical win this year. It won't be the last. Now, folks, I came out yesterday with a video, much to my chagrin, saying that Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is on its way to losing money. It's on its way to being a flop. The folks out there who are telling you that it's a major win are simply not giving you a window into what's really going on. The budget for this movie is simply too high. The marketing spend combined with the production puts this at a total cost of $240 million. It needs something like $480 million to break even, and it's not on track to do so. Yes, winning in an empty box office, well, that's better than not winning, but it certainly is not making money. And that's the problem. And that's why people with higher resolution investigatory actions into these sorts of things need to be writing these articles. No offense meant to Rick Muñoz. Disney is now trading for less than 20 times next year's earnings. And this is with profit targets potentially inching higher in the coming quarters. Now, we're not going to read the whole article. And it's for a reason. I promise you. Stay right there. I want to show you what's going on here. So, on the positive side for Disney, from the analysts who are supporting Disney, I want you to see what the track record looks like. So this is Rick Muñoz, and it's from today. And we know that last week was the Disney earnings call. And we know that that earnings call was horrifically bad. It was so bad that Disney lost a value of their company equal to the entire value of Warner Brothers Discovery in a single day. The stock absolutely crashed, and it may not get better, especially if they cannot turn this around. So what was Rick Muñoz saying before that earnings call? Well, let's look and see what Rick Muñoz was saying. Back on April 24th, 5 reasons to buy Disney stock like there's no tomorrow. So Rick Muñoz was telling folks that they should buy the Disney stock right before it dropped, crashed. And, well, there's not a party being had by anyone who followed that advice, I don't think. And the key points here, let's read them. Let's see what Rick Muñoz was telling folks out there about why they should buy the Disney stock right before the bottom fell out and it crashed. How much money did Rick Muñoz influence in a bad direction? Not everybody can be perfect, by the way, and Rick Muñoz is entitled to an opinion, and all of us get things wrong. I just want you to see the pattern. Disney is finally ahead of the S&P 500 after trailing the market average in the last 3 years. Well, that's changed. Analysts keep falling short and assessing the turnaround at Disney. Oh, do they? And the degree of the bottom line beats continues to widen. Former drags on the bottom line, including Disney Plus, ESPN, and theatrical releases, are turning the corner. Well, of those, only Disney Plus in that earnings report seemed to show anything remotely approximating that, and Disney Plus was declared in the forward guidance to not be heading in that direction for the future. Said it's been a good year for Disney. The stock hit a 52-week high after its blowout financial update in February. The shares have pulled back lately, but with a 26% year-to-date gain, it's easily trouncing the market averages. It's a welcome break. It says, let's go over some of the reasons the House of Mouse could be a smart investment right now. Well, that's very interesting, isn't it? Because if we go back to April and you bought in April, you are not having a good time right now. It says Disney Plus is no longer negative, getting ready to bounce back at the box office. Disney believes in Disney. Can you believe if there was that's your reason for buying into a company is because Home Depot believes in Home Depot. McDonald's believes in McDonald's. Good grief. It's spending money while saving some, yada, 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 yada. Not much high resolution in that. Now, are we picking on Rick Muñoz? No. Rick Muñoz today is just the arbiter for what we're examining, and that is that those who have trumpeted for Disney are likely to continue trumpeting for Disney, but those who have not been interested in, shall we say, proselytizing for the mouse, such as this article here, those are beginning to say, don't buy the dip. What am I saying? Well, I'm not telling you anything because I don't have a position on this at all. I'm not telling you to buy or sell. I have no desire to tell you what to do with your money whatsoever. I'm simply showing you the situation that Disney faces. Because while they still may have the Rick Muñozes of the world, the Daniel Sparks of the world, well, they've changed. And more importantly for Disney, going right back to the original article that sent us here, perhaps the biggest problem for Disney is it's not that they've lost the financial analysts. Perhaps it's that the financial analysts are paying attention to Disney losing their guests, their audience, their crowds, their consumers. If you look at Tiana's Bayou Adventure, you see a brand new attraction opening for the very first time in Walt Disney World. A triumph against all of the woes and the darkness in the world. A final justice against that evil Brer Rabbit and his Song of the South. Uncle Remus never set foot inside the parks, but thank goodness that his friends are no longer there either, according to Disney. And yet, for all of that work that Disney has done, all of those inroads that they have made, Disney is not drawing a crowd to the parks this summer. They're not announcing the opening date, during their earnings call. They're hiding. And they're hiding because, well, all the folks who said, yay, Splash Mountain is destroyed. It's a zippity-doo-dah day when that thing goes away. It's always been terrible, and no one enjoyed it. We only wrote it because we were forced to. All of those people who were so excited for Disney doing this, Disney, you're learning what the comics industry learned. You're learning what the movies and TV show, what all of those folks learned in the parks now. That those folks who herald and praise and throw accolades upon you for doing these virtue signaling moves, they don't come support you later because they don't really care. They're just happy to send out a tweet, an Instagram post, a TikTok. But when it comes time to spend actual money to come to your parks, they never came before and they won't come again because they're still busy living in their parents' basement and blaming all of the woes in the world on those who are oppressing them in their own imaginations. So I'm sorry, Disney, but the analysts have caught on to that. And if you do not change your ways, the fact that analysts are saying now, stay away from Disney, well, it's just looking the same as the families who've already said that right down Main Street, with Wall Street catching up. Folks, that's the video for this afternoon. We hope you enjoyed it. The reason we do these is because we want you to be ahead of the culture curve. We want you to see behind the veil. And then we expect and anticipate that the mainstream media journalists, the drive-bys, will be here taking their notes and getting ready for tomorrow's headlines. But you are here to get there first. And we love bringing that to you. Many more firsts on the way as we get ready to say hello to a fantastic week coming up all of the remaining days of this glorious, beautiful week. That Park Place has more exclusives about Disney parks coming out, as does this channel. But folks, tomorrow, that's what you don't want to miss because the Pro Show Live at noon Eastern, Tuesday, that's tomorrow, Dean Cain is in the house. Dean Cain, of course, you know him as Superman. He's coming by, he's stopping by, and we're going to talk about the importance of heroic men and entertainment. And who knows, maybe we'll even find out what he thinks, what Superman thinks about that Superman image from James Gunn recently. You do not want to miss it. Fireworks, guaranteed. All right, folks, you can help us make fireworks right here by clicking the like button. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms, it's the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. Folks, we end these with the same thing we say every time. We say it because we mean it. We say it because we appreciate you. You're seen, you're heard. You're the gigawatts that make all of this possible. We want you to have the best time possible. Keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
No, hey Flo, what you doing? Thinking about Rome?
No, I wasn't. But thanks. Now I lost the game.
Dang it. Now I lost the game. Well, now you're a double loser.
Hey guys, you know what would help you in your grief? Forgetting those things and filling your mind with articles from thatparkplace.com and using that website as a launching pad to get you lost in thought with all of the team from there.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
Yeah. Oh, well, Flora, would you look down here?
I hate you.